All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. And today I have a very special guest on here with me today. His name is Anthony Sansotta. Some of you know him, some of them don't. He is going to tell his whole journey and his story on how he got into motorcycles. And he started a new project called the Road Race Report, which I am super pumped about. It is very unique and different than anything else anybody is doing in the industry. So, ladies and gentlemen, Anthony Sansotta, welcome to the podcast, my friend.
What's going on, Simcoe? I'm happy to be here. Happy to be doing a podcast and getting this thing rolling and off the ground and going through the trials and tribulations. It'll be fun to take a little break and talk about it a little bit and share my story and how this thing came to be.
Yeah, man, I'm super excited to get into it. Me and you, my friend, definitely have a lot to talk about. So let's just jump right into it, man. Where did it all start with you on two wheels?
Oh man, I grew up in Marion, Ohio, which some people may or may not know the lore of two wheels in Marion, Ohio, but many great motorcycle racers kind of came through here in the late 80s, early 90s. The Hayden brothers spent some time here every year racing. My first dealership that sponsored me, longtime friends of my parents, their son was a 883 national flat track champion, Scott Stump. I grew up around it. I grew up in it. I mean, my earliest memories are of motorcycles. My dad was obviously heavily involved, and his best friend, Dan Shivington, he's kind of a privateer legend in road racing. So I got to grow up around him, chasing him, hearing all his stories and asking all the questions. And I think that's kind of how all this stuff came to be. I started riding, man, when I was probably 3. No training wheels, just riding with my dad on the back. And then before we knew it, I was riding. Then I was racing motocross. And I want to say probably 95. My dad would have to fact check me on that, but it's probably 95. There's a little indoor motocross race here in Ohio in Marion. And I grew up going there and racing. And then as things progressed, I raced moto all through up until I was 19, 20 years old. Did pretty well, was fast local guy, if you will, not super fast, but, fast enough to think about, oh man, I'd really like to make a career out of this. I raced moto, but what was really cool around here was there was an organization that was then called Ohio YSR. And it was mainly YSR racing, right, in the 2000s, and then it's evolved over the years. It's now Ohio Mini Road Race League, I think, is what it's called. They're gonna kill me for not knowing the actual name, but we basically raced moto, flat track, and road racing at least once a month from the time I was probably 10, 11 up to like 13, 14, and then road racing gets a little expensive, and I just wanted to race motocross. I wanted to jump. I wanted to do all the things you see on Supercross. I loved road racing, but moto was kind of the gig. So that's kind of that chunk of childhood. But I followed road racing, diehard followed road racing, because we would go to Mid-Ohio every year, right? In the glory days of AMA Superbike, man. Like, there was nothing better than that weekend. And it was always butted up with the vintage motorcycle days that happen every year at Mid-Ohio still to this day. So those guys were the all-out heroes because I could just be there up close and personal, right? Like, somehow when I was like 11, 12, 13, I managed to get into Victory Circle every year. I still got hats, and I think my mom even still has, like, I believe it was Aaron Yates, one of his like big, they used to do the wreaths, right? And I would get those and hats and just like be in the mix. So that was kind of like, that's the beginning of it all, really. Just grew up around a lot of really talented motorcyclists here in my hometown, which is crazy to say. And we grew up kind of duking it out with the old guys. I remember racing with Larry Pegram as young as like 13, 14 years old, like just in these little indoor races. And I was blessed to grow up around two wheels, to say the least.
Man, I love it, dude. As far as motocross goes, I grew up riding my friends' motocross bikes. Grew up in the Navy, so we moved a lot. My mom was like, "No, it's something else we got to take." Right? Of course, my dad was like, "One day you'll have your own, but for now, go ride your friends." So anyway, I remember when I finally got mine, I'm talking all this shit. Yeah, dude, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. I'm gonna hit all these jumps. So I go to my first proper motocross track, right? And I'm looking at this triple, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm not doing that. Absolutely not. That is not for me at all. I'm gonna go on the outside or on the inside. Y'all have fun with that."
Yes,
I,
sir.
I had my thongs on and all of it the
Yeah.
whole time, and I was proud too. I wore it proudly that day, right?
Yep. Yep.
I always envy people that did it because I was always kind of a fear of mine, right?
Yeah.
Is hitting a real big jump. I got to where I could do some doubles, but they weren't very big doubles, right?
Yeah. Yep.
But the triples, I still to this day, I look at them
Yeah, dude.
like, yeah, I don't bounce like I used to. I flop, and it takes a lot longer to recover, right? Excuses. You guys hear all the excuses coming out?
I got a story we could get into later about 3 years ago that I realized at 36 years old, you just definitely don't bounce like you used to. So I know that all too well.
Oh man.
But yeah, that's kind of how it all got started. It was just, I grew up inundated with it, and I was blessed in that regard, no doubt.
100%, man. And that's what I love about racing in general, man. It's grassroots racing. That's where it starts, is father and son, or father and daughter, grandpa, the whole nine. It just, the list keeps going on. And then one day, you're going to pass it down to your boy or girl, right? It's something that, you don't realize when you get into it at such a young age, or I say I fell in love with it at such a young age, right? But you don't realize how it's going to transform your life and the people you're going to meet because of those beautiful two wheels, whether it's flat track, dirt bike, road racing, it don't matter, right? It's all twos. And it's the most unique, I call it the beautiful circus in the world, right? You meet the most amazing people.
Yep.
Do you still moto today?
I haven't. Okay, so we'll tell this story real quick. Sidebar. 2 years, maybe 2.5 now. I got the bug, and I would get the bug every year in the fall, go race day in the dirt. I was living in California, and just, kind of prep for that, get ready, take a month, go riding every weekend, get back in the swing of things, go race day in the dirt, and then park my bike. Right. So, day in the dirt was coming around, and dude, I crashed so big off this tabletop at Paula, the finish line jump. It's been the same finish line jump in the pro motocross for, I don't know, probably 10 years now. But I just jumped the same way I've been jumping all day, and the wind caught me, and I landed wrong. And basically I face planted, and when the bike blew out from under me, it broke both my hands and my hip in one fell swoop. So yeah, it was a real quick learning lesson, and I haven't been on a motocross bike since then. I've rode some flat track. I raced super hooligan the last 2 years, but I have not touched a motocross track since that day. I'm itching big. I was just pricing out ways to get my 125 back rolling. I blew it up like 3 years ago, and it's just been sitting. So it's coming, but yeah, it's a lot less now. That's for sure. I've done a lot of road racing in the last 2 or 3 years, but no moto.
Yeah, it's funny when you hurt yourself, you question it. You're like, that's fun. I want to do it again, but I'm gonna wait a little while, right? And then you jump back on it, and you kind of tiptoe into it, and then after about 5 minutes, you're like, bump it, let's go, right? Like, I'll deal with it later.
I've got a good track here. A lot of flat track guys come out here for it's in Harpster. It's called Ohio Flat Track Sports Center. It's run by Triangle Motorcycle. It's a club that's been around since forever, 70 years plus probably. But they got a nice little motocross track that's come together, and it's got a couple jumps, but everything's real safe. So I'm looking forward to some summer mornings out there going around all the jumps, like you said earlier, just kind of like, we'll take it easy, hit some corners, make some good ruts, and stay out of trouble, hopefully.
And feel it out for a minute,
totally,
right? And see how I'm feeling in the moment. Yeah, it's funny. It seems like every time, don't get me wrong, like I've hurt myself road racing too, but it seems like every time I get on my motocross bike, man, I I end up making that trip to the hospital because I break
Yeah.
something. My wife's like,
Yep.
I told you, blah, blah. You know how the women are. And I'm like,
Oh yeah.
it's all good, right? It's no problem.
Oh yeah. I know it.
No problem. So, Anthony, growing up motocrossing like you did,
Yep.
and then you transitioning into doing some road racing.
Mhm.
In your opinion, how did motocross help you make that transition to road racing?
I mean, growing up here in Ohio, we rode in rutted tracks changing every lap,
Yeah.
right? And when I got on a road race bike or a YSR at that point, it was like, oh, this is like everything's consistent, right? The only variable is now me and the tires and whatever else, whatever else is happening around me. The track is the same. So it felt normal to have the bike moving around. And it also felt amazing to not have the track change on me every time I come around a corner. So yeah, that was that definitely helped. And really, other than that, it was kind of foreign. I mean, I had some flat track experience too. So, we grew up back to Dan Shivington again, who had a farm out probably 15 minutes from my house. And we had like a kidney shaped, bean field track that we just rode. I mean, we would ride 2-3 tanks of gas out every time my dad would take me out there. We would just ride and ride and ride, be it in circles or around this little 4-corner kidney bean deal. And so I knew how to slide a motorcycle and I wasn't really afraid of that. So it was cool. Supermoto was popping off back then too. So the transition was kind of nice because I was able to ride some supermoto on my 250 at the time. That kind of helped the transition, I think. And then, yeah, we just cold turkey kind of stopped road racing one day and never really looked back. Right. And then years later, it was like 2014, and we can snowball kind of through the story of my career. I get back into road racing a little bit through the Omaha Champions School, believe it or not. Those guys, I saw you got Kyle Wyman shirt on there, so spent a ton of time with the YCRS boys, and yeah, looking forward to hopefully spending some more time with those guys and drumming up some projects for the Road Race Report with those guys. We were just talking a little bit today. So yeah, they got me. I mean, those guys rewired my freaking brain when I went there the first time. I was like, dude, I've been riding motorcycles damn near 20 years. And you just made me question everything and I didn't really have to relearn, but like trying to apply the things was complicated. And then one day it all clicked. I think it was like end of day 2 at the school. I was just like, oh, now I drive my car different. Now I mountain bike different. Everything is changed after one trip to a school. So yeah, shout out to those guys. Cause that was a life changer for me. And it fed my road racing passion when I wasn't necessarily doing anything road racing related. Right. So like 2014 to 2016, I was working with those guys quite a bit. So yeah, it was, they kind of fueled that road racing side of me a little bit. I was obviously still watching the races and stuff, but it was great.
I love it, man. I'm a big advocate for proper coaching at proper schools, right? It's like, you often hear, people showing up on the first track day that oh, I got this BMW, whatever, and that's $6,000 exhaust. I'm like, dude, you should have spent $2,500 and got you some proper coaching. That's what you need. It changes. I find that it was different for me because I was 19 years old when I really got into road racing. I didn't know we could do it, right? You just watch it on TV, you're a fan, you go to the races, and then I soaked I was a sponge. I'm asking everybody questions. I'm an outgoing person. I talk to everybody. So, but I had a friend, man, like he just thought he knew it all, right? That ego side of him, didn't want to listen, and he don't even ride anymore, right? And we often see that in our sport, but coaching is absolute must. Same thing I tell people, Anthony, is, dude, you don't need a 600. Buy you a 300 or 400. Properly learn your race craft. If you really want to be fast, learn a racecraft. Start on a 300, 400 until you can ride the absolute shit out of that thing.
Truly.
And then get you a 600.
Truly. I mean, dude, we cut our teeth on bone stock XR100s. We would have like 16, 17 of us on a grid both road race and flat track. Bone stock hunters, some of us bone stock. Scott Stump, if you're watching this, yeah, bone stock. Always stock stuff with Scott, but had to throw that jab in there. This
Love it.
Old habits die hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's coaching. I had a friend of mine that I met through the school, Dave. He said it to me like this, and I think we put this in a YCRS video that's still floating around out there. He's like, look, if I'm in trouble legally, I'm going to go get the best lawyer I know to deal with my legal trouble, right? If I'm struggling with XYZ, you go to a professional and get counsel, right? Why is that any different? And why should it be any different when you're risking your life on the freaking racetrack? Why is that any different? Why would you not start there? Like, if there's going to be something that you shouldn't have an ego with, it's probably riding motorcycles. I think is like
100%.
number one, especially 100%. On the street, even over the racetrack, right? Like, the street is, in my opinion, far more dangerous than anything I've experienced on a racetrack over 25 years or whatever it's been. So yeah, coaching, 100%. Man.
No, coaching 100%. You know, and I tell people, it's like, you know, you ride on the street your whole life and you develop these bad habits. When you get on the track, you don't do this. Like, this, you're doing it way incorrectly, right? And it just goes to show that even if you don't plan on doing track days or any type of club racing or anything, you should still get you some proper coaching on body technique, braking, target fixation, all these little things that go often. You know, when I talk about racing, it's all these little important puzzle pieces that's got to come together in order for you to win on that weekend or be top in qualifying or whatever it is, right? Same thing with riding on the street. And it's not like it used to be when we were growing up, because everybody's got these freaking cell phones and they're Do you still ride on the street or?
No, not so much. I got a buddy that's dabbling back into riding on the street around here, and I'm like, that would be kind of nice. Go on a little Sunday cruise. I've got a KTM 890 Duke that's all prepped out for super hooligans, and all the stuff sitting there to turn it back to a street bike. But I don't know. Maybe this road race report thing pops off. I get a couple demos, have to do some bike tests. You know, fingers crossed that something like that would happen. And then, okay, cool. Yeah, we'll do some street riding and then go test some bikes over at Mid-Ohio, do a bunch of track days over there this year. So I'm open to it. I think that it's important. It's obviously very important for the motorcycle industry, right? To have people that are still very enthusiastic about riding on the street. But like you said, I think the cell phone dangers are a very real thing. I mean, look back, what really kind of tipped it for me was Dane Westby, when Dane Westby passed away, right? Like, one of, hands down, the most talented road racers we had ever seen passes away in a street bike accident, right? On the road. Like, if that guy can't avoid, or if that can happen to him, it can happen to anybody, right? Yep. So I mean, look, we take risk every day. I could just as well get hurt driving my truck down the road or walking my dog down the street or and. So it's a weird way to look at it that I'm trying to break out of.
No, it's I still enjoy getting out there every once in a while, because, you know, when you throw your leg around that bike and that shield comes down, there's no other feeling like it in the world.
It truly isn't. Truly isn't.
Even if I'm just going down to play a game of pool with my buddy and ride back home, which is literally 5 minutes down the street, it's the best part of my day. 110%. I want to talk a little bit about flat track. I'm a huge flat track fan. Been past twice at Daytona when I went. It is absolutely the most insane shit I've ever seen in my life, man. It's you're standing on a gate and you're just like, let's go, and they're coming by so close, so quick. You gotta turn your head. Dirt's coming. Listen, real quick, I remember I showed up the first time and I'm standing on the fence and I'm looking around, Anthony, and all of a sudden I say to myself, why the fuck does everybody got goggles on? Little did I know, right? Little did I know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I grew up on the outside of turn 2 at Lima, dude. Like, pea gravel in your beer, right? Like, just the best. But yeah, if you don't know, you don't know.
You don't, dude. I didn't know, right? And so, yeah, after that first lap come by and it's all in my face, and I had to actually throw my contacts away because it got in my contact, right? And I was like, Now I know why they're wearing goggles.
Me too.
110%. So every time
Yep.
they come around, I go like this, right? So yeah, it's but flat track to me is it's a truly amazing sport, but I think it's the best way to train for road racing too as well.
Oh
It's one of
yeah.
the best ways, you know, because you're
Listen.
constantly front, rear, you know, you're finding that traction. Yes, you don't have
Yep.
no front brake, but that's fun in itself, right? But the
Yep.
bike sliding, and it becomes what I call is muscle memory, just like I like to shoot a lot, right? So you train, it's all muscle memory in
Yep.
case something happens, that rear tire steps out, the
Yep.
front starts to wash, you don't, it's that muscle memory instead of tensing up and
Yep.
high sign your ass to the moon, right? Because we all been there.
Yes, sir.
So tell us your experience about flat track, man.
Oh man, you know, it wasn't a big piece of the racing that we did, but there was one local track that had Saturday night flat track and Sunday motocross, and it was so rad. Most of the time on knobby tires, and then when we finally broke down and got an XR100, we had dirt track tires on that. So I had mini bike experience, and then have had experiences and right. Over the years in California, Johnny Lewis would get me on a bike when he would come out there here and there. You know, it's one of those things. And like I said earlier, we grew up going in circles regardless, right? Like we were sliding around on our dirt bikes as if we were flat tracking, learning how to back it in, learning how to slide, learning how to, you know, just control all of that and front end slides. And then, you know, I spent a bunch of time, my parents still live in the same place that I grew up in, and there's a church parking lot back there. And I would just take a stock XR50 and slide in circles for days. I mean, days, like 3 straight summers. I bet I rode 2 hours a day for 3 straight summers, you know, and was just sliding. And I'll have to resurface some old photos, of me sliding around in my leathers, you know, just flat sideways, front end slide, just learning, you know.
Yeah.
We'd put knobby tires on there just to throw that into the mix, right? And then learn to slide the front as you were sliding the rear and figure it all out.
Yeah.
Big
time. Yeah.
I'm a small enough guy that the XR50 worked out pretty good, but yeah, man, it flat track to me was, again, we would go to Lima every single year and watch the national there. And then, you know, in Ohio, we had random nationals that would pop up. Like, you know, some of the old head guys will remember Scioto Downs. They ran a couple races at Scioto Downs. Big, I believe that's a mile. Just unreal. Like, we had so much flat track happening around here that it was hard to ignore it, even if you wanted to. And yeah, you know, like I said, we have Triangle Motorcycle Club here. They're huge flat track. There's a half-mile pea gravel track 15 minutes from my house that those guys maintain. And, you know, when Lima's about to happen, all the pro guys roll through, and Corey Texter puts on a couple of nationals there every year. And it's cool to see it. I think that there's room for it to grow. I think that there's good characters, there's good stories to tell within the paddock. It's a dream of mine within 3 to 5 years to kind of do what I'm doing with Road Race Report over there. But obviously I'm a little underwater as I sit here right now to be thinking about 3 to 5 years from now and firing up a whole other media outlet. But we're going to try to write a formula that will make sense and get us into flat track as well. Cause know a lot of those guys. Those guys are great. Briar Bauman and Shayna, and did some Red Bull projects with Shayna back in the day when I was at Red Bull. And that was like, you know, it was so cool to be able to talk about flat track while working at Red Bull and have a Red Bull KTM team in flat track. It was just like all my worlds colliding on the main stage, you know? So those were fun times. But yeah, dude, flat track, didn't get to race it as much as I would have liked to. And I think like we have a pretty big 50 plus class here. And so I think as I start inching up in years, I'm gonna be like, oh, well, maybe we just start going over here and riding it. And I would truthfully like to have a flat track bike now. Cause I just think, like you said, if I'm going to be riding and testing bikes and doing things that I want to do, it's important for me to be in good riding shape. and that place 15 minutes from my house with a short track and a half-mile pea gravel.
Perfect.
Couldn't get any better, right?
Bro.
It's perfect scenario to just be able to grab the
Put
trailer.
me in, coach.
Yeah,
Straight up.
Yeah, what a better way to start a Wednesday morning, right? Like just go
Right.
rip some laps. So that's it's high on my list, but not something that I did enough of growing up.
It's funny. I started interviewing flat track riders too as well. The first one I reached out to was Sammy Halbert, right? I remember sitting on the couch. Yes, dude, absolute legend. And I'm looking at my wife and I was like, man, because I've been talking about it for a while. When I first mentioned it, she's like, who the fuck is Sammy Halbert? I was like, he's a FIM legend in flat track racing, this and that.
Yep.
So for like a week straight, I'm sitting there with my phone in my hand on his Instagram page, and I start to text him, and then I back out, and I'm like, I'll do it later, right? And finally, my wife's like, dude, just send him a message. Quit bullshitting. So I sent him a message, dude, and he immediately replied. And I was like, oh, shit, let's go, right? So since then, I've had him. I had the honor to sit down with Brad the Bullet Baker, too, as well. Another hero of mine. Dude, he's fucking amazing, dude.
He's
he
so rad.
is. Yes. So when I went to Daytona this year, since I do all the road race for BTR, World Infield, I interview all their girls, right? Now I'm going to start this year, too. I'm going to get all the flat track girls in their program on the podcast, too, as well, and walked around in the back of the pits where all the amateur people and the kids are, and
where the real good stuff is. There's some good stories hiding around back in there.
Right. So you got to stay tuned because I got a bunch of them flat track riders coming on from Daytona. I love that. I'm super, super pumped about that, man.
All of that. The weather's finally breaking. It's podcast season for me, dude, out working in the yard.
That's it. Let's go. Right. Which brings me, Anthony, I want to talk all about your road race report, bro. Again, I said at the beginning, it's absolutely amazing what you're doing. And I'm going to say this before you even start, whatever visions and goals and dreams you have in this, man, I hope you achieve it 10 times over.
Dude, I appreciate it. And same for you. Dude, I don't want to frame. I'll take you on a brief journey of what got me to this point.
Where did the idea come from?
So I want to say it was like 2017. Little history on my work history that will play into this, right? So I started as a photojournalist. I got hurt racing, and I was like, look, I want to shoot photos. A friend of mine, Jim Blevins, was running like this race team. We could do a whole podcast on how we marketed ourselves as a race team, and we all just raced individually, but we all got sponsorships because we applied as a group of 20 kids. And so Jim was our photographer, always shooting photos. Great dude, still a really amazing photographer. He got me into it. I got hurt one year, broke my arm. And I was kind of questioning, I grew up with some fast motocross kids, and they were already light years ahead of where I was. And I was starting to realize that wasn't going to happen. So I got into photojournalism. Those guys all went pro. I chased them around arena cross for 2.5 years, filming my buddies that I grew up racing with, wrote press releases, did photos, had like 5 clients that I serviced. And my dad was going to kill me because I wasn't going to go to college. Right. I was like, dude, I'm not going to college until I know what I want to do. Right. I said, if I'm 25 and I haven't figured it out, I'll go be a physical therapist and work in sports medicine or whatever. Give me till I'm 25. Probably the biggest fight that I ever have with my parents. We are thick as thieves, man, and we never fight. And man, we were at blows for that one. So they let me do it. They let me off the hook. I traveled, did that, went to California for the first time. I was like, damn, I got to live here. This is what I made money shooting photos as, just contract photo work in the middle of the week. So I moved there and I spent 12 years there, just moved back 2 years ago. But man, when I moved out there, I started into video work. Lamore Scher, who's now part owner of YCRS, he got me in. He's like, you got the eye? Well, let's do it. Filmed a small video series with Chris Fillmore called Following Fillmore. It was like,
I used to watch the shit out of that show, dude.
Wait, really?
Dude. Bullshit, dude. Yeah.
That was me, dude. That was me going around with Chris. I remember the first day I started at Lamore's ad agency, they said, All right, here's a video camera. Here's how it works. You and Chris are going to go to Deus down here in Venice and meet up with his buddy Wooly, and you'll just film whatever you see. Like, okay. Chris and I get in the car, and it's like the first scene of Falling Filmer. I turn the video camera to Chris, and he's like, I'm like, oh, what are we doing? And he's like, we both just started busting up laughing. And that's like the first scene in the whole thing is us just like having no clue what we're doing. 2 years of that go by. I end up leaving Eyeball, which was the agency. They sponsored a bunch of racers back in the day. This is a deep cut of knowledge. Miles Thornton and Eric Stump were sponsored by Eyeball, and that is how I met Lamore. Sure, but yeah, he stuck a video camera in my head. Said, go get it. Good luck. And he'd give me really detailed notes all the time, and then we had an editor that put it all together because I'm not an editor. Don't ever want to be one. God bless the editors. Thank you for your service.
Yes.
And that's kind of how it started in the video side of things and where I really learned how to tell a story. And then I realized quickly as I was going through the years, like at that point, OnTheThrottle.tv was still a thing. And those guys were doing a great job of just grabbing interviews, right? And that was doing its thing. And, I had always thought I would love to do some road racing stuff. Spent the next 5 years at Red Bull, best 5 years of my life, crazy stories. We could do a whole podcast on the stuff that we got up to at Red Bull because they would just, I was tasked with covering athletes and events. And man, we did some epic athlete content and some event content that experience was kind of like when I got that job, I knew immediately. I was like, I am jumping off a springboard, right? Like it's a fork in the road moment of my life where you're just like, you get that call and you're like, oh my gosh, everything just changed. That's it. Now it's 2016. So fast forward into 2017. I don't think my notebook's laying around here. I have a brain dump page in one of my journals. I journal all the time. And I have a brain dump page of like, okay, there is no one doing this, and this in road racing. If I were to ever get to a point where I need an out from Red Bull, this is what I would do, right? And at the time, I was gonna approach my buddies at Verb Moto, Wes Williams over at Verb Moto. I was gonna approach him and be like, "Hey, let's do like Verb SBK, right? Let's do a super bike version of what you do at Verb Moto." If you don't know what Verb Moto is, check them out. verbmoto.com. They just a bunch of rad human beings doing cool stories from amateur and professional motocross, right? Like they're like the Wild West. They come up with crazy ideas. If Wes decides he wants to, he'll just go off the deep end and make a movie. He's made a couple moto movies that are like childhood staples. Really, really rad stuff. So that was kind of where the idea was born as far back as I can trace it to paper is 2017, early 2017. And then as you flip through the journal, you find like another page and then another page and then another page. And it's like, okay, well, that's becoming something, and then life snowballs. You get a job opportunity here. You do this, I covered Supercross and motocross for 2 years, COVID years to 2022. And in that point, I was working with YCRS and I was like, okay, maybe this is the time, right? Like 2022, maybe this is the time. So then there's another big, like 4-page brain dump of like, okay, this is it. Like, this is what we're going to do. I wish my record scratch thing would work on here on my mixer because I would hit it. Because I got a call from the brand amp. Mark Altieri cold called me and was like, hey, I'm looking for a creative director and I heard you're the guy. And I'm like, who are you? What's going on? We have mutual friends. And he called me and offered me a job to do a bunch of, basically end up doing a bunch of Indian and Polaris, content work as a creative director and, shooter and photography and video. So I did that for the last 4 years. And just last summer I was racing Super Hooligan and I was in the paddock and I'm like, seeing all these stories and just talking to people and getting like, well, what happened in your race? And like, oh, damn, no one ever is going to hear that story. Like, guys would tell me about their race. I'm like, that is absolutely insane. Or I would experience something on the track and be like, dude, if that were a battle for the lead and you know that stuff's happening and you know that 8th, 9th, 10th place guys, you know, having this insane battle or having this bike issue that he's dealing with, there's so many stories that happen at every single race. And it was just kind of one of those things that it kind of just irked at me, right? Like it really it almost made me mad in a way that there wasn't, you know, Pulp MX or Vital MX or Racer X. God, remember the Road Racer X days? Like that was it, right? Like there isn't that. And so who's servicing the younger generation with fresh content? And other than the riders, hey, don't get me wrong, Daytona, the boys went off, right? Like all the riders' content, boom, we're stepping up. It's awesome. Rispoli's vlog, insane. Like I laid in bed and watched that the other night. I was like, dude, good on you. You know, you spent money on that. Like, good on you, dude. But if I can take some of that pressure off of riders, brands, whoever, and make dope content for them that's sponsored by their sponsors, cool, great. So anyway, I'm rambling a little bit, but it came down to last year, and I'm just laying in bed one night. I'm like, I just need to do this. You know, it's all my favorite things. Take all my favorite things that I do as a profession and compile it into one thing. Interviewing people, love talking, love hearing people's stories, love telling stories, love shooting videos and photos. Well, okay. Nobody's doing that right now, really. I mean, there are guys with cameras at the racetrack that are kicking ass. Brian J. Nelson's been doing it since I was born. And that is not a dig at all. He is the man, the undisputed GOAT. If you have a moment in MotoAmerica, dude, Josh Herring runs into, however you want to phrase it, the media guy. I see a photo. Brian J. Nelson is there in the moment, capturing that moment. Like the man is able to capture everything all at once. Dude, I told him at Daytona, I was like, I am going to follow you around at one of these rounds and just see how you get everywhere. You're everywhere, dude. Everywhere I'm at, you're at. How's it happen? I swear to you, he clones himself. So anyway, outside of those guys, and there's 50 cameras in the media center. You were at Daytona. There's 50 cameras in there, dude. And the boys crush it. They're all good. There's so many good content creators, but no one's doing it for an outlet, right? No one's got an outlet focus where it's like Racer X, right? Everyone's getting paid to create content for riders and brands. Great. It's a perfect way to make money. Frankly, I'm at $0 so far, which is totally fine. Set myself up to try to make a run at this thing, but no one's doing it. It's going to be a tough road to kind of hoe here, but I think it's going to pay off, and it's going to pay off pretty solid for everybody. And that's the main goal. If I don't make hardly any money and I make all my money as a content consultant for brands and for the brand amp, I'm still working luckily enough to be on their roster to work with them, and still planning to work on tons of Polaris and Indian work, you know, going forward. If that's how I make my money, and this is a passion project that breaks even, and I drive to all the races and I camp in my van amongst the layman people, dude, sign me up. Sign me up to go tell these stories and give the riders, brands, and teams, and the series, frankly, a platform to tell their story, right? Like, dude, I couldn't ask for anything more than that. And so that's the heart of it. That's the core of this whole thing is to give everyone in that paddock, and frankly, everyone that is involved in U.S. road racing, Joe Roberts, Garrett Gerloff, the guys going on the world stage. Let's talk about it. The dude's going on the Bagger World Cup. I'm going to COTA next weekend. Gonna tell those guys stories. Already started asking them how they're feeling about it. You'll see the content next week. Like, I just all the things that I've enjoyed doing over the years, I'm trying to make that my full-time gig. And I worked in the last 4 years in the agency world, and dude, it's nonstop. I took 85 flights last year, and I am getting to be my mid 30s are here and ticking away, and I'm kind of done traveling that much. So I'm trying to balance my life out a little bit and still keep going on the projects that I've been working on, because I love the crew that I was working with, and they do great work, and it's great. But when your passion calls you and it comes knocking, and it knocks again, and it knocks again, and it knocks again, I'm opening the door, brother. I got to go. So we'll see what happens. And it's a gamble. And I mean, dude, don't get me wrong, been super well received, and the riders are stoked. Like I've had 3 million views on my stuff in the last 30 days. Like, dude, could have never, if it would have been 300,000, I would have just been over the moon. But shout out Josh Heron for blowing a corner and getting me 2 million of those. Thanks, Josh. Love you, buddy. And we'll do some content free of charge for your service and my growth in week 1. So
Love it.
But yeah, man, I don't know. I just think that my dad, when I consult my dad a lot just about everything, and he just kind of was like, dude, we were drinking beers in the garage one night in the shop, which you're all in the shop, which will be the podcast space that we'll create within this room, has just started this week, thanks to you. But we were sitting in the shop one night, just chopping it up. And I was like, I think I want to do this. And he's like, dude, you trust your instincts. You got good instincts, and we're trusting our instincts. Here we go. So, yeah, man, that's kind of the long and short of it. I rambled a little bit, but I wanted to give some of that background that kind of adds context to what this thing is. And once I decided I wanted to do it, I charged right at it. I actually I said Road Racer X earlier. I called upon David Landgren, who still does all of Racer X's, still does all of Racer X's logos and does all their cover work. He designed the Road Racer X logos and all that stuff. And when I happened to stumble upon his Instagram, we had some mutual friends. I reached out and I was like, dude, you are the OG of the OG when it comes to iconic American road race logos, because that logo sticks in my brain. And that magazine was everything to all. I was like 15, 16 when that magazine was huge. It was just like, that would come every month and I would just be like, oh my gosh. So yeah, man, I called him and he created this beautiful logo and gave me a little brand book, and trying to just run at it full steam. And yeah, if it pays off, it pays off. If not, we told some really cool stories and hopefully had a really badass couple years of chasing everybody around and having fun. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah. Man, I love it. It's kind of like a little bit with me. Like I didn't even start this podcast. I ended up taking it over. Right. And it almost didn't happen because I had my first solo podcast by myself. I'm used to having a partner hosting it, creating it, all these things. And I'm doing it myself now. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. Right. But I was like I'm all in, head in. But with saying all these things that me and you do on the same page is, how do I be uncommon amongst all the other uncommon motorcycle podcasters out there? What can I do different than everybody else is doing to stand out amongst the crowd? Right.
Yep.
That was the trick for me. Is I just started going after all the backfield road racers and the club racers and people that never got to be able to tell their stories in there. And one of my favorite things to do is like have you on, Anthony, and then turn around and have your dad on, because now your journey's complete. Up until this time standpoint in our life, right? It's those stories again, like you said. It's telling the stories, keeping the sport alive.
Totally.
I love it, man.
Go ahead. One of my big pushes, and I've spent like a good chunk of my last 2 days sorting this out, but I want to get the guys that couldn't tell the stories in the 90s and the late 80s.
Yep.
I'm coming for you guys. If you're listening, I'm coming for you guys. Be ready to get on a call just like this and tell me the stories that you weren't allowed to tell. I've heard some of those stories around a campfire, thanks to Danny Shivington, and I'm coming for you guys. I'm coming for you. I actually talked to Ben Bostrom just recently. He wants to come on, and he might be my first podcast. I'm going to do a Legends series of podcasts and just try to like piece together an oral history that can be cohesive and have an ecosystem on my website so you can kind of like trace the stories together. That's been the work I've done the last couple of days. I'm like, okay, if I get this guy, well, I have to get this guy, who was close to this guy, who's the crew chief of this guy, right? Who was probably also the crew chief of 6 other people.
Dude, listen, I'm with you, Anthony. I like doing that too. I got a couple old school names coming on. Steve Crevier, right?
Oh yeah, that'd be huge. That's a great one.
Pascal Picot's coming on. All my heroes back in the 90s. And
we want to talk about iconic,
right?
Iconic helmet paint. Pascal is
the man, right? And then I had Danny Hull on. We become really good buddies. He was crew chief with Nicky Hayden, you name him. Back in the day, he was crew chief to Scott Russell, and he was telling me all these stories off camera, right? And then I had Chuck Sorson on not too long ago, and he's like, for part 2, I want to come on and tell all these stories I could never tell back in the day. I was like, let's go. That's what everybody wants to hear.
That's what they want to hear. They want to tell it,
and they want to tell it, right?
Know, right? So
love it.
That's an exciting part of all this too, is like you said, some of the people that I want to have on are like absolute heroes of mine, right? And it's just an honor to get to sit down and share 30 minutes with them, if it's only 30 minutes, right? But yeah, I think those stories deserve to live on, right? Like I went to the Daytona 200 monument, the what do you call it, reception ceremony, seeing all those guys and standing around and listening to them tell their stories, and those guys getting to see each other. Some of them haven't seen each other for 20, 30 years, right?
And they probably hated each other back then too, right?
Right? Yeah. They had their weekends where it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. Right. So yeah, I think that stuff deserves a huge place in the current landscape, right? Because not only that, but we can all learn a lot from what they did, in the 80s and 90s, those guys built road racing in the U.S. to something that we couldn't even, if it were on the same level, at inflation or whatever you want to call it, it would be huge. It would be as big as Supercross, right? Because I remember going to Mid-Ohio and there being not a place to park, and you having a park at the road at Mid-Ohio, which is, a mile from the racetrack or from the pits. I think there's a lot to learn from those guys. And I think right now, MotoAmerica's got a great crew of people that were in the heyday that helped, kind of foster the sport. And I think they do a pretty dang good job, right? Criticism is everywhere, but that's just human nature at this point. I think everyone's got a soapbox with social media and can say whatever they want to say. And your opinion's your opinion. You're entitled to it. But I think they're doing a good job. So
love it.
I want to tell those stories, and I want to get some of that insights from those guys for sure.
Dude, I'm like you, every time I sit down with what I call a legend like Josh Hayes, I was like, I'm sitting down with Josh Hayes. Are you fucking kidding me right now, right? Let's go. It was funny because that night my wife went out with her friends, and we have a keypad for the door, but we never locked the bottom lock. Well, for some dumb reason, I locked the bottom lock, and I'm on this live podcast with Josh, and my wife texts, she calls me, and I'm like, my wife knows I'm sitting down with Josh, right? So I ignore it. And then she sends me a text. She's like, I'm standing outside. So I replied, okay, well, come on in. She's like, you dumbass, you locked me out the house right now. So live podcast, I was like, Josh, dude, I fucked up. I just locked my wife out of the house, right? So I got to go let her back in. And dude, he was cracking jokes on me during the podcast. It was hilarious.
That was good.
But, sitting down with them, and then dude, it's it's something that I never dreamed that I would be in a position to do, right?
Yeah.
And then when you show up to the track, your friends, he's like, "Oh, what's up, Simcoe?" And blah 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 blah. You're
Yep.
like,
Yep.
mind blown.
Yep.
It's speaking of Ben Bostrom, real quick. Right, well, you can see it right there. That's a
Yep.
signed Ben Bostrom poster from 1999 at Phoenix International
so
Raceway,
rad.
and that's Anthony Gobert signed poster.
Dude, I had
This
that
is
Gobert
his-
poster. I had that Gobert poster on my room. In
Yep.
my room as a kid. I
That-
can still see it amongst Nikki Hayden, Tommy Hayden, Roger Hayden, and Anthony and Anthony, right? Like,
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
dude.
great stuff, dude. Yeah, look, there's the Tommy Hayden poster from the
Yep.
same year. That's
Yep.
the one that was hanging up there. Yep,
Yeah,
that's
and
crazy.
That's Alex Marquez's Mark VDS actual
was just
tape
gonna say.
shroud. Yep. And
So
then
rad.
Cam Bobier's front
Dude.
and tail section. Yeah, I'm a nerd, bro. Like
I love it.
I fucking live this
I
sport.
love it. I have a box of posters from the 80s and 90s that I have been sitting on that I need to go through. But I know once I break them out, I'm going to want to put them up somewhere. So I'm waiting on my shop to be completely finished before I crack into them. But more on that coming soon. That's definitely going to be a segment of like, check these old posters out, because there's some gems in there. I know there is. I had every poster for like 10 years because I was just a kid running around picking up every poster and trying to get a signature. So
I was the same way. I'm like you. I got literally, you can ask me, I got 8 totes downstairs.
damn.
Half of them are Road Racer X magazines when it comes.
Yeah.
I kept them all. Road Racing World back in the day, and when it was the big magazine, I got totes full of those. And then I got so many posters, dude. I could fill this house up probably 4 times, wall to ceiling of posters. It's, you should see my other room. It's
That's epic.
I love it, man. I named my son Hayden Rossi right after Nikki Hayden and Valentine.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it's man, you know, if again, I said it earlier, you know, if it wasn't for 2 wheels, I feel fortunate and truly blessed that I found my passion at such a young age.
Yep.
You know,
Totally.
and now I'm realizing it as I'm 46 years old, right? Of all the things that I've accomplished, and the journey, man, it's all about the journey, you know, and the main reason why I do this podcast is I wanted to take it over, but at the end of the day, I didn't realize it till I was laying in bed one night. I do it for my son. That way, if I was to drop dead right now, Anthony, he's always got Spotify, iHeart, YouTube. He can see me smile, see me laugh.
That's so
Get
cool.
back to the sport that it's given me everything my whole life, right? So that's my main motivation behind this whole
That's amazing
ordeal.
What a great driving factor. That's so cool.
It's man. I love it, dude. I love it. Well, listen, Anthony, we are almost an hour into this podcast. I want to save the rest for part 2 because, dude, I've been taking a bunch of notes, dude. So we have so much more to talk about. But I want to transition into the second part where I get to pick your brain and we get to know you personally, right?
Okay, let's do it.
So the first question, dude, is tell us something we don't know about you at all.
Ooh, something that you don't know about me at all. I play guitar. I played guitar for got my first guitar, which was my grandfather's guitar, passed away when my mom was 3, was a country music singer, played on the Grand Ole Opry. I got his guitar when I was 13. I played that for a little bit, and it was a little difficult for me to play. Massive jumbo. Another story behind that, but massive guitar that has a piece of Led Zeppelin history. Obviously not that exact guitar, but was Jimmy Page's favorite acoustic to write with. It's the same guitar that I have that was my grandfather's. So started playing when I was 13. I've played on and off. I'm not good. I'm not great. I can play and sing a couple songs these days. But you know, that's one thing I think people don't necessarily know about me.
Oh man, come on, man. We're all superstars at Garage Band on the Nintendo. What are you talking about? The air guitar is where it's at.
I can play a solo here and there. I can play a Pearl Jam song, Yellow Ledbetter.
That's my favorite, dude, bro.
I had to learn how to play it.
Dude, my favorite Pearl Jam song it's probably one of my favorite songs of all time. As soon as it comes on, volume is just wide open wherever I'm at.
Immediate.
And then I gotta listen to at least 5 times in a row, right? It's
no doubt.
110%. Well, let me ask you this, man. What's your worst habit?
Ooh, my worst habit. I would say I I would say I suffer from undiagnosed ADHD that has me procrastinating like crazy. Um, yeah, it's procrastination has been the bane of my existence. I'm always crushing, cramping for a deadline. I have changed that in the last 3 weeks, I would say. I'm trying to be ahead of everything. That's my goal with Road Race Report, is to try to use it to where I can learn the rhythm that I work at naturally. Um, I want to be able to work in the times where my brain likes to work and be creative, and then enjoy the time outside of that. So I'm learning how to dial in my procrastination and cram into like an 11 p.m. time slot. Like, okay, cool. I got this done like 3 days early at 11 p.m. Procrastination. That's a terrible habit for me, and one I'm actively working on.
You know, it's funny. That's my worst habit too. And since I've been doing the podcast, I've not trained myself, but been working on myself not to procrastinate so much, right? Like, this has got to get done. I got to do this phone call. I got this pre-video chat. I got to do this. I got to be prepared now. I got all these freaking notebooks full of, dude, look at this, right?
Totally.
Like, I turn into this full-fledged. I looked at myself in the mirror the other day and I was like, you're a journalist. You just don't even know it.
That's
like,
it.
You do all this shit, dude. And you're just, yeah, it's
yep.
Journalist.
It's great.
Let's go. I love it. Let me ask you this, man. I listen to a lot of audio books. I'm currently listening to The Art of Racing in the Rain, which is an absolute amazing.
I have to listen to that.
Oh yeah, dude, it's great. So it's this race car driver, and he gets this little puppy, and the story is told through the dog's eyes, and it's just, dude, it's just such a great story. So do you read books or listen to audiobooks?
I go in spurts. I get hooked on audiobooks. I get hooked on, I'm more of a podcast guy, like listen to anything from, the normal, like conversational podcast, like a Rogan, or my favorite podcast actually is Jocko Willink's podcast.
I listen to Jocko.
I listen to Jocko a lot. I think that the stories are insane and give me appreciation for the military side of things, and what people go through on that in that front, but also the way that he like ties that into discipline and ties that into leadership, and that's more my speed. That said, I catch recommendations from a few people that when I talk to them, I ask them what book they're reading, because they're always on the same type of stuff that I'm on. Jace McAlpine is one of those people that he's turned me on to some books. And so now when we chat, he runs Gypsy Tales podcast.
Yep.
When we chat, I'm like, what book are you reading? And he'll give me a gem, and I'll read it or listen to it. I don't necessarily love to sit and read. My girlfriend sits and reads every single morning, and I applaud that. My brain cannot sit still in the morning, and then I fall asleep at night if I try to read. So more audiobook. More audiobook. Sure.
I'm a big fan of Jace in Gypsy Tales podcast. If you guys hadn't had a chance to check it out, dude, I'm actually watching the video he did when he went to Japan and hung out with
Shimoda.
Yeah, Shimoda. Yep. Duh.
Yeah, 100 hours.
Yeah, huge fan of Jace. I'll tell you another book I like too is David Goggins. I'm sure you heard of David Goggins.
Yeah.
Can't Hurt Me. Both his books are. Yep. And I listen to Ryan Sean show too, the Sean Ryan show, because he's like Jocko and all the war stories. And the stuff people go through. So I enjoy that.
I read a book, Atomic Habits, that is one that I would like to go back now, which this is probably going to prompt me to listen to that on my way to Coda, because I'm going to drive to Coda, so I got plenty of time to kill. Atomic Habits. That's one of the books that got me started in getting my procrastination habit and getting all my habits dialed in. Really, it's one of those books that if you haven't read it and you're looking for something like self-helpy, I know it kind of sounds a little woo-woo, but worth a read. The perspective on how to change your habits and how to dial yourself in is one that I really enjoyed. So
yeah, I wrote it down. I'm definitely going to check it out. One of the biggest challenges that I found for myself was to learn to let the things go that I can't control and focus on the things that I
Mhm.
can't control, right?
Mhm.
That's been a big mental struggle for me my
Yep.
whole life, and I'm
Yep.
kind of at the point where I'm figuring it out maybe, but then I don't, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's in the whole juggling act like you, man.
Yep.
You've been journalism and doing all these videos and doing that and working another job and having a home life and a family life, just doing this whole juggle struggle ball of making
Mhm.
everything work in your flow. Like you said, like I do, podcasts at certain times because that's when I feel the best and all this
Mhm.
stuff that goes in with it, right? It's all yeah, man.
Totally.
I love it, man. I love it. Dude, are you a spicy food guy?
Yes. Yes.
Love it.
Um, I do enjoy spicy food, and I would say I choose spicy over not spicy most times. Not overly spicy. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Not a hot food guy. I like some spice. I
Okay.
lived in LA for long enough that I like, spicy curries and things like that. Like my palate is grown a lot from only eating chicken tenders for the first 20 years of my life, basically. So thank you to LA. The one of the many things that you brought into my life was a palate that allows me to like spicy food these days, I guess.
I love it, man. Yeah, I used to not like spice at all. My uncle married a Thai woman and brought her back to the United States, and she started making home, Thai food, and I was like, "This is
Yep.
the best shit
So
I've ever eaten."
that
But
is
my asshole's on fire, right? And then, dude, I kept eating it and eating it. Next thing I know, I'm eating way more spice than they are. Then I feel froggy one day. I was like, you know what? I like the last dab on that show, the hot one. So I'm gonna order a bottle of that. And the next,
Yep.
dude, I'm eating it like almost every day, and I was like, this is just absolutely insane. So.
Yep.
I like those real hot moments sometimes, sort of
Yeah.
will,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I
Yep.
got to be in the mood for it,
Yep.
you know. Let me ask you, did you play any sports growing up or was
I
it just
did.
motorcycles?
I did. I played a little bit of everything. I played baseball for forever, from t-ball to really to like 6th or 7th grade. So all through elementary school and into middle school, and then racing got kind of serious. I started wrestling in 7th grade and wrestled until my junior year. That was for sure my sport. Mainly because one, I just liked the physicality of it. And as somebody that, was smaller and not confident, my early middle school years, I wouldn't say not confident, but I needed wrestling to kind of like, get me going and get my confidence up. So I wrestled, and I wrestled with some of the best wrestlers around. So got pretty good at it. I had this kid used to whoop my ass every day in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Every day. And he was younger than me, Corey. And man, that stuff changed my life. So I got hurt wrestling. It messed something up in my rib. And then that was my junior year, maybe the end of my sophomore year. And it kind of it felt like it was going to put me at risk of getting hurt for racing. So I just was like, yeah, no, I'm good. But it did keep me in shape for racing. So that was huge. I always showed up in the spring like in the best shape I would be all year, honestly, because outside of like your muscles getting sore from riding moto and things that you can't necessarily work out, like cardio wise, we were ready to rip come March. So I wrestled, and then once I quit racing basically, like quit taking it super serious for my senior year of high school. Played tennis in high school as well, but I like pole vaulted and ran the 400 and like did track for my senior year, which was hilarious. Me lining up against all these like 6-foot dudes running a 1-lap sprint, the 400. And I just feel like, yeah, well, let's go. And I 9 times out of 10 get last. I'd be happy if I got like second to last, like just out there getting worked on as a 5'5" guy. It was great. So yeah, I loved playing sports, man. It was a good break and kind of distraction from racing, and from keeping, it just kept me involved in school, which I think is so important. There's some guys that, the homeschool stuff got really big, and it's still really big. And I don't know, for me, that stuff and having a friend group outside of racing, made the bad days at the racetrack, or when I was going through something, or like, you know, another whole podcast is like the ego death of, you know, when you decide you're not going to be a racer, when you decide that this is the end of the line for the dream that I've had since before I could even dream, like that right there was so powerful and changed my life in ways that I couldn't imagine. And without, you know, something else, and, you know, having a friend group outside of racing, that was huge. So thankfully, yes, I played sports. Long story short.
I love it, man. Yeah, that's a topic that I can't wait to get into with Pascal Picotte and the legends of the sport. You know,
Totally.
how do you deal with it? Like when was that moment that was clearly defined that it's time to hang up my leathers, and how did you deal with that to fill the void of all those years of just chasing that rush? Like how do you a lot of guys like NFL and all these other people in sports, man, they don't cope with it very well, right? We all know the outcome of it. So it's and some of them, you know, they start their own business, they do X, Y, and Z. So that's something I can't wait to deep dive into.
And there's some, I'm sure there's some big stories about that stuff
100%.
that are just waiting to be uncovered.
I know. I can't wait to flip the page and let it out. Right. Let's go. Let me ask you this, dude. What's the one superpower you wish you had?
Superpower. I feel like I've thought about this a lot, and I'm drawing a blank right off the bat. I think if I had a superpower, it would just be to fly, just for the joy of flying, like just for the rush, right? Like if I could just go outside and fly right now and take a break from the world and see it from above and clear my head for 15 minutes and fly to the end of the county and back. Okay, cool. Great. Like that would be like, that's it. I don't know. I've never thought of it that way. It just came to me right now, but being able to fly would be a great superpower for that and for transportation, obviously, but like, you get it. Being able to fly, I guess, that's the one.
I would do I used to say flying, and then I thought about it. I changed it to teleportation.
I mean, that's
teleport, right? Because I could be like, Anthony, I'll be in the studio in a second, boom, and then everything I hold on to goes with me. So my whole podcast table, right? I'm right there with you. And then, hey, you want to go to Australia? Let's go hang out with Jace. Boom, let's go, right? Let's jump on the gypsy tails, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So yeah,
for sure. That's a good one. That's probably what I would have said with any more time to think about it.
That's why I ask these questions, and I don't let people know the questions I'm gonna ask unless you listen to the podcast before. I need to change them up. Do you have any tattoos?
I have one tattoo. I don't even know if my dad knows this yet. I hope he's not watching. He's had to have seen it. I've had it for years. Got drunk one night in Venice. My buddy Josh, he's covered in awesome art. I have one tattoo that is a Roman numeral. It's on my thigh, like just like teeters with where my shorts would be. And it's Roman numeral of my race number. And I got it because I was going through a time where I was just kind of frankly, losing myself in my mid-20s. Just like, who am I? What am I doing? What is my, it happens to everybody. Mid to late 20s, you go through that, like, what the hell is this? I thought I had it all figured out. So yeah, I wanted to stamp that on my leg so that I could look down when I was looking down, and that's who you are. That's the ethos right there. That's who you are. You grew up in it. That number 231 is like a guiding light for me. Eventually I'll get another one that is the number of the house that my parents live in, that I grew up in, 146. There's so many running jokes about 146. So that'll happen, I'm sure. Maybe on the other side on the thigh, but yeah, that's the only one I got. I've avoided. I don't know why. I don't know how, but probably because my dad put the fear of God in me back in the day. Like, you're not getting a tattoo. So he doesn't have any. Nobody really else in my family has them. My immediate family for sure not. So my dad scared us all off from it, except for me one night late in Venice.
I love it. Yeah, I got a bunch of tattoos. I always said I'm never getting a tattoo, and then I got my first tattoo. I was like, that was fucking therapy. This is awesome.
Yeah, I don't know how I don't know how I fought that off, but I managed to. I thought about it. I've thought about it a couple times, but
Yeah, I want to get my my Pendergast podcast logo
yeah, that's cool.
tattooed on me. I think that'd be cool. The one I got, well, when my grandma passed away,
Simicelli's so
my,
good.
yeah, Simicelli. Yeah,
Yes.
I have a funny story about that, but we'll save that for next time for sure. Dude, do you have any superstitions? Are you superstitious at all?
I do a couple things the same way. I don't know that it's a superstition. At champ school, they always talk about, like, you know, when you put your visor down, you have a saying. Scott Russell's was always just, I'm a badass motherfucker, right? Like, I have a couple of those things that I do that I never forget to do when I get on the bike. Grew up Catholic, so it's always a cross, a kiss, and a point. I have a saying when I close my shield, which is let's fucking get it. And it just switches me on immediately. And I do it when I'm training. I do it on my mountain bike. I do it, whatever. That's the one for me. I put my socks on the exact same way every single day. Not necessarily for any, like, if I don't do it this way, and I'm sure I have over the years, but I put my left sock on every day first, every day. I don't know why. I don't, like, that's the habit. I don't know if it's a habit. I don't know if it's a superstition. It would feel weird if I did it the other way now that I'm thinking about it, but that's the only other thing I can think of. Yeah, not really superstitious at all.
It's funny. I wear my socks inside out.
Damn, that's crazy. That's superstition?
No, I got it from Nolan Lampkin, a buddy of mine at races,
Okay,
right?
yeah.
I had him on the podcast and asked the same question. Do you like have any, rituals you go through before you prepare for battle? He's like, nope, I wear my socks inside out. And I was like, where are your socks? Well, that's odd. Why? He's like, because when you put them on normally where it's sewn in the front, you know how sometimes it gets up in your toes, you got to take your shoe off and move it or whatever. Yep. He's like, if you wear it inside out, you'll never have that problem. And I was like, I'm going to try that. And since that day and that podcast a year and a half ago, I wear my socks inside out.
No way. Dude, hot tip. This might change your life. I wear stance socks, and they're the only socks that I wear. It's an expensive habit, but dude, not an ad. They changed my life. I don't ever have any bunching problems. I wear stance socks and Ethica underwear every single day. It's the only thing in my drawer, and they're unreal. So try them out. It's
I got a couple pair of Ethica when Valentino Rossi did a limited run with them. I had to buy the Valentino Rossi draws, right? And so
I think I got a pair of those that are still in the bag somewhere that I just kept.
Yeah, I did, man. I wear them. I got that, and I got a Kawasaki. Like, I try to buy the motorcycle like brands when they come out with it.
Sport to sport. That's one thing that we could also talk about is support the people who support the sport.
This is something that
damn important, and tell the people that you're supporting it because they support the sport. Oh my gosh, I can't stress it enough. Working with big brands, that shit is so. I saw Juan Gonzalez, Mr. Gonzalez from Mission Foods at Daytona, and I walked over to him and said, "Mr. Gonzalez, thank you so much for everything you do for motorsports. You have no idea. Like, he is putting the motorsports industry on his back, from NASCAR to flat track." Like, and not just the big names, not just that logo and that money is everywhere. And it's like our modern day version of cigarette money. Like, support the sport, support the brands that support the sport. Please, 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 please. Can't state it enough. We got to do it. It's the only thing that'll keep us alive.
100%, man. I give that same spiel at the end of every podcast. That's the last thing I say before I hand the mic to you to let you end it, which I'm gonna do here in a few minutes. We'll get to that here in a minute. But yeah, dude. So shoot, I'm actually gonna save some of these personal questions for our next one. I do have two more for you.
All right.
Before we end this podcast, first one is, what's our go-to karaoke song?
Oh man, my go-to karaoke song. This is hilarious. I've done it like 3 times. I actually just had somebody reach out to me that was in the bar when I did it the last time I did it, and this was like 2013 or 2014. But the Humpty Dance by Digital Underground,
dude, I love it,
every damn word. And if I've had just enough alcohol, and there's just the right vibe in the room, I go off with that one.
I love it,
I go
dude.
off with
Love
that
it.
one. It is yeah, it's ridiculous and hilarious. I like it because it's not a real like serious singing song. I grew up singing in choirs. Like I can sing, don't get me wrong, but I'm not trying to sing for anybody anytime soon. So a kitschy rap song is the best option.
I love it, dude. The Humpty Dance. Here's your chance to do the hump. Yeah, dude, that was my jam back in the day.
I need to hit it on a pad.
Download it, put it on it. Yeah. My name is Humpty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Oh,
my other hidden talent, now that we're talking about that OG stuff, is I roller skate. I can roller skate really well. Boogie skate the whole nine. Grew up doing it this Saturday. Been going to adult skates with my my aunt and my uncle. Yeah, that was like family lineage. My great uncle ran the roller skating rink in town. So yeah, grew up into all that old 80s music, boogie skating as a kid.
Love it, man. Love it. I got a good buddy of mine, Dan Spalding. He races. That's what he loves to do too. Is roller casing.
Dude,
he's always posting videos on Instagram of him just getting down. Me, I get out there and I bust my ass, right? But hey, it's fun.
Don't get me wrong, I do that too.
Facts, right? We got a couple comments. Kenny Abbott, what is up, my man? He says, I always felt like that really represents you. Just tell the story, something meaningful and not just for the point of having a tattoo. So mine represents an entire life story as well as family. 100%.
There you go, Kenny. That's 100%. Right.
And then Christine, she says, Dare Maria.
Oh yeah. That's my girlfriend right there. That's another song from the mid 2000s. Dear Maria, count me in. I can do that one. That one requires less alcohol and more vocal warm-ups, and probably honestly 10 years off my life to get that one out. But yeah, that's another hidden karaoke gem that I could probably not do these days.
Now we're gonna, me and you gonna have to have a karaoke jam out session one day. I like singing Sitting at the Bar.
It's a great one.
Yeah, Rehab, Sitting at the Bar, baby. Yes, let's go. All right, last question, Anthony. Then I'm gonna give all my shout outs, and I'm gonna let you in the podcast by giving all your shout outs where everybody can find you on social media, get in touch with you. But just when I end this, just stay on with me for a brief second. First thing I want to say is, man, listen, if it wasn't for Anthony and everybody listening to this podcast, without all this likes and subscribes and support, I would not be sitting here doing this. It's because of each and every single one of you is the reason why I'm here. So it's nothing but love to everybody. And I love you guys and girls so much. Thank you. Big shout out to K-Tech Suspension, man. If you're not on K-Tech, I don't know what you're racing on, right? So get on that K-Tech. Big shout out to SFL Mini GP in Jersey and in South Florida. It's one of the best programs, bro, that we have in America, right? And it's no bullshit. All you got to do is register and you show up. They provide the leathers, the boots, the gloves, the bikes. So what are you waiting on, right?
Man. Real quick on those guys, if you look at a MotoAmerica grid from the last 5, 8, 9 years, maybe even more than that, there is one person that started in New Jersey or in South Florida with 100%. That program.
100%.
That is a sure shot way to give yourself a great opportunity to have a chance to excel in this sport. It's such a great starting base platform. And so happy they're still around.
Me too, man. So yeah, big shout out to Michael Carrera, the one that runs it down there, and Gianovi that's up there in Jersey. They're absolutely amazing humans. I got 2 friends that make undersuits, and they're the best undersuits you can get in the world. And you're not going to go wrong by ordering from either one of them. Okay, the first one is 64 Degree Racing, my man Tate. I got 2 custom undersuits from him, and I wear them all the time, even in the winter. That's my go-to suit, right? The second one is my girl Mama Aliki from venomsport.com. You guys can go to Venom Sport and get your undersuit there too as well. For all my UK friends, you guys can go to clothingkings.co.uk and get all your Pendergast merch. Big shout out to Racer 411 program out there. If you're in California racing in CVMA and CRA, he has an absolutely amazing program. He's also got this mentorship program too that man, listen, check it out. It's absolutely amazing if you're out there. I got 3 friends in the industry that make wraps too, whether you want your helmet wrapped, your dog wrapped, your wife wrapped, your bike, whatever you want wrapped, right? You're not going to go wrong with my order. Wrap it up, baby. Dripping Wet, Chris Crizel, my man Reese Brody from REB Graphics, my man Gus Rodeo from GRG Designs. Big shout out to Vet2Track. My buddy Jim Whitman's got a program called Vet2Track. So any of my vets out there that is missing that brotherhood and camaraderie, that's exactly what he does, but he does it at the racetrack. So it gets you involved with a team. You get to work on a pit crew. Like, it's absolutely amazing program. So all my vets out there, go to vet2track.org. That is ORG, not .com. I got another good buddy in the industry, Michael from tbexusaexperience.org. Listen, this program is one of the best programs I've ever seen. If, you personally or anybody, that missing an arm, missing a leg, might be paralyzed from the waist down, guess what? You can still get out there and ride. Not only can you ride, you can still get out there and race. Again, it is tbexusaexperience.org. It's an amazing program. And dude, one last thing.
Hold on. Shout out to those guys. And shout out to Isaiah Davis.
Dude, that's my dude right there. Easy, baby. Let's go.
That's the man.
Absolutely.
Love that guy. Great program.
Dude, yeah, Easy's. If you guys missed it, I've had Easy on several times. You guys go back and watch it. I actually had the owner of TBEX USA and Jim from Vet2Track, right? Yeah, you guys go back and listen. He tells how he started it and where he is today with it. Awesome. The last thing that I'm going to say before I leave my buddy Anthony the microphone is what we just talked about a few minutes ago. Listen, keep the shit in the sport when you buy stuff. Don't order it off of Walmart. Don't order it off of Target. I don't care if you save 15%, because everybody that's in this sport that's selling these products, listen, show them the love.
Yep.
That is the reason why we got the stuff that we got. That's why you got the stuff you got, right? Don't take it away from our circus.
All the way down to how many Progressive insurance logos do you see on motorcycles in MotoAmerica? Or Ken Roczen Supercross. All my insurance is through Progressive, and it is straight up because they support the sport and they deserve my business for fueling the sport.
Yep.
It's simple. It has to happen.
Yep. So, well, that's it for me. Anthony, tell everybody where they can find you on socials. Tell everybody where they can, roadracereport.com. But
yeah, man. Roadracereport.com. I appreciate your support. There's quite a few empty ad spaces on there right now. You can see where they would be if any brands would like to reach out. Anthony at roadracereport.com. I would love to work with you guys. Look, on the advertising bit for me real quick. I don't want to be traditional advertising. Yeah, sure. There's web banners on my website. That's great. I would like for those to come as a bonus to me helping you tell your story, or getting your marketing messaging out, or coming to your facility and shooting a video and giving you stuff that you can use on your channels and I can use on my channels. Like, let's start the world of advertorial, as I would like to call it, content, where we do editorial content that, allows you to tell your story in a cool and unique way. And it's not just me saying, hey, this is XYZ product, and I run a pre-roll, pre-scripted thing on my front of my video, right? Like, let's work together. I'm a content marketing guy. I would love to make content with brands to help the sport look and feel premium, and to help your ads resonate versus just being on, on my website, right? Like, websites are, probably shouldn't say this, but websites are kind of, this dying little thing, right? Like, I'm going to service a website, and I'm going to have a website because I like visiting all the motorcycle and MotoGP websites on a loop every morning to start my day, like reading the newspaper, because I'm old. Today's age, I'm old compared to what these kids are consuming. Thank God I understand a little bit of what they're doing advertising wise. But yeah, reach out, Anthony at roadracereport.com. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook. Lord help me, I'm starting a TikTok. We'll get there. We're gonna figure out TikTok. I might have to hire phone a friend for some TikTok advice. But yeah, follow us, Road Race Report. We appreciate your support. Every like, every comment, every subscribe. I'll be doing YouTube content. I'll have the shop podcast coming. I'm gonna build out a either an RV or my race trailer from last year into a podcast studio. I'm going to start doing live podcasts, hopefully from the racetrack. Would love to have you come on and, chop it up. And I just plan to set the thing up and let it roll for a couple hours. And any rider that wants to cruise through and tell me how their weekend was, let's do it. Right. So that's the pipe dream of that. Yeah, man, that's it. I rambled a little bit, but
Nice.
Road Race Report, we're here. We're trying. We're bootstrapping it, and we're having a damn good time doing it. I'll be at COTA. You see me, you see this logo. I'm the only one that will have this logo on my body. So stop me, say hi, let's chop it up. Yeah, dude, thanks so much for having me on. I look forward to sharing more stories and getting to know you more and more over the years as we continue on down the road. So
absolutely, dude. It's all about the journey, dude. You listen to Honors on Mine. You are absolutely welcome. You will be at Road Atlanta, right?
I'll be at every MotoAmerica around this year for sure.
Yep. So me and you are going to be spending a lot of time together at the races then. I can't wait. Looking forward to it. But anyway, This episode will be out Spotify, All Heart here. You just give me 30 minutes. It'll be out. I'll tag you on all the socials, all that good stuff. So yeah. Absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been an absolute honor to sit down with my man, Anthony Sansotta from the Road Race Report. Don't forget, go check him out. Follow him on all those socials. Anybody interested in jumping on, helping him out, please reach out. Let's get it going. And the MotoGP races this weekend, first time back in Brazil, which is absolutely amazing. I cannot wait. Yes, I know. Let's go.
Real quick. Who do you have? It's one of those rare times where we get to see who is the real ones that don't have any data. They don't have their engineers to work with anything. Who you got this weekend? Obviously, let's take Marquez out of the equation. Marquez is his own beast.
Man, I think, dude, it's hard to not say Pedro Acosta.
Dude, yes.
I mean, it's really hard not to, right? He's one of those, there's riders that come by every once in a while that elevate the game. He had Rossi and Lorenzo and Marquez and Toprak, right? Pedro Acosta, the Shark, is definitely absolutely. So that would be my pick. He's not on my my MotoGP fantasy league yet. I haven't changed none of my
that stuff hurts my brain.
Oh, dude, man, I do it. I play it. I actually have a thing where people sign up and do it. The winner of the thing win a prize at the end of the year, right?
That's dope.
Whatever. It might be a knee slider from Jake Gagne. It might be a poster from your favorite racer or rider or whatever. So I always try to make that personal, right? So whoever wins will be like, okay, I got these options. Who do you want to sign it? Oh, I want this. Okay, I got you. And I'll go get it signed and then mail it off. So it's just a little something extra, But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm out of here. I got to go eat some dinner. Anthony's got a lot of stuff to do too as well. Anthony, just stay on with me for 1 second.
Yep,
and we will see you soon.
Calling all two-wheel enthusiasts, get ready to rev up your earbuds with Pin the Gas Podcast, the ultimate motorcycle racing podcast, hosted by Chris Simcoe, one of our very own excellent leaders here in Roanoke, Virginia. With expert analysis, behind-the-scenes stories, and exclusive writer interviews, Pin the Gas Podcast delivers the adrenaline rush of the racetrack straight to your ears. Whether you're a diehard fan or a curious newcomer, you'll gain insights that will transform how you watch and understand motorcycle racing. On your favorite podcast app, join Simcoe as he takes you on a high-speed journey through the world of motorcycle racing. Pin the Gas Podcast.